Great fight. I mean, Bill's been leading the negotiations from our side. Been having very positive discussions with Oscar. Spoke to him last night, and
Pro boxing fans, we're here in London. It's fight week. Next gen card for Matchroom. Eddie Hearn. How are you, sir? How's things?
Doing very well, thank you. Been a nice week in London, to be honest with you. Just sort of back in the office in a bit of a routine before we head off to Mexico next week. And then to
This is not like you. You normally have it on top of your head. You're losing it there.
Mexico, and then of course gear up for Joshua Ngannou and Orlando. So Orlando after Mexico, and then Ray Ford for the world title, and then Joshua Ngannou. So yeah, it's a lot of travelling. I just realised how much travelling it was, and it fucked my head up a little bit, but it's okay. We'll be there.
Let's talk about the next gen cards, obviously, with all the big fights in Saudi and all the glamour that comes with the Vegas fights. It's very important that you do these fights for the youngsters, the prospects. In your stable, first of all, this fight, Liam Dillon versus Belotti, someone we've known for a long time. Yeah. Belotti's been there for years doing it. We actually thought, he probably stepped out of boxing. He's come back and performing well. Just talk to me about this card. Just run through this card for me.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, you're right. We've got to keep the young talent coming through, and these smaller next-gen cards are all about that. Although we're sold out, it does only hold 1,800, but it'll be a great atmosphere in there. And when you look at the main event, Liam Dillon is the next-gen kid, undefeated British champion, and then Reece Belotti is, although he still looks like he's next-gen, he's the older guy who's been around, come back, been up, been down, and been on a great run lately. This fight is an old-school throwback British and Commonwealth Championship that will be a war. Both guys don't take a step back. Both guys just throw punch after punch after punch, and it's a great fight. Shannon Ryan steps up in a tough fight, 2-6-0. I feel like she's got a huge future in the sport as well. I think I'd like to see her change for a world title this year. Cameron Bong's got a big step up as well against Ishmael Ellis. It's a really good fight. Cameron's already established himself as one of the best prospects in the country. Craig Richards has a great fight to return to. He's not next gen, but this was the card that we had to get him on because I want him in a big fight in the summer, and a good undercard as well of other talent. So yeah, good to see the next gen coming through, giving them airtime, giving them opportunity as they develop for a really important next 2 or 3 years, because we need those stars coming through, and you need those names emerging as guys that and girls that are exciting the public.
Do you want to talk about Craig Richards, somebody who's moved on to Shane McGuigan and got sort of new passes? Look, when I saw him last week at the show, at the Boxeo as usual, looks fresh, looks like he's ready to challenge. There's rumours of an Anthony Yard fight. I was with Anthony Yard yesterday, and I said, listen, what's the fight that you want? He goes, listen, there's too many options. But it doesn't seem like Craig Richards was an option, to be honest with you, because it seems like there's bigger options. What's realistic for Craig after this?
Listen, we love the Yard fight, and I think I've already spoke to George Warren about it. I think if the light heavyweight division gets the call up for the 5v5, we've got Callum Smith and we've got Craig Richards. Both of those guys, I'd love to see him with Yard. Yard's a great fighter. I think he fights this Saturday, so he'll be looking for a big fight, whether that's on the 5v5 or whether that's in the UK. I think Craig is a bit of a dark horse of the light heavyweight division. I think he's a very intelligent fighter. I think he punches very, very hard. When you look back at that fight with Bivol, he lost 115, 113. He was well matched in that fight. If he'd have believed in himself a little bit more in that fight, he could have won it. And that shows you the levels of Craig Richards. So tomorrow is a tough fight, but again, a level that he should look good in, just to get that momentum back. He's been out, his hand's been, playing him, giving him problems for well over a year now. Was going to have surgery, didn't have surgery, but back punching hard. And I think he's a guy that we can throw in the deep end with anybody after Saturday night. And he's a lovely guy, and I want to provide him with that opportunity. So yeah, I would love to see Craig Richards fight Anthony Yard.
I do want to talk about Anthony Yard, actually. There's a lot of talk about him and Boxeo in the summer at a stadium. Do you feel like that fight is big enough to sell out a stadium, for example, maybe like a Palace or something like that?
No, but I think it's a really good domestic fight. I think it does well at Wembley. I think it does well at the O2. It's definitely not a stadium fight, but it's a really good domestic fight. They're all great fights. Boxeo against Yard, Boxeo against Callum Smith, Boxeo against well, I know fought Craig Richards, but it was a great fight. Craig Richards against Anthony Yarde, Smith against Yarde. I mean, hopefully we can make those fights, and the 5v5 gives us an opportunity to pay those guys very well and make those great fights.
Talking about Smith, I want to move on to another Smith, Dalton Smith. Adam Azim looks like the best bids for the EBU title, for the European title, have been called. Adam's tweeted saying it's going to be Ramadan, so there might have to be a delay. What do you reckon happens with that? I'm sure that suits you as well with Dalton just fighting. What do you reckon happens with this person?
That's correct. I mean, Adam Azim is not going to be available until May, June, through Ramadan. So for us, that's fine, because Dalton's got the toughest test of his career so far against Jose Zepeda, which is a very tough fight. We've got to stay focused on that. But the Adam Azim Dalton Smith fight is exactly the kind of fight that we want to be in. And I was very vocal in my interview the other day to say, just don't pull out of that fight, please. Like, can we just, rather than mess people's careers up and make people wait, can we just have an agreement now that no one will pull out of that fight? So next time you interview Adam or Ben Shalom, I'll appreciate if you ask that and say, can you confirm you will 100% take that fight next, regardless of where it is? I'm more than happy for that fight to happen on Sky. I'm more than happy for that fight to happen on DAZN. I'm more than happy to roll the dice at a purse bid. But let's make fights like that and forget the bullshit of let's let him marinate. Fuck on, mate. What? Let them both win world titles? What, in 2 years? And are they going to win world titles? When's that opportunity going to come? Let's make a massive arena or even a stadium fight now at Hillsborough. That is a brilliant fight. But we've got to keep focused on Jose Zepeda. That's what, I mean, Azim's never boxed at the level of Jose Zepeda, and nor's Dalton. So we've got to be switched on, and hopefully they'll allow us to fight Adam Azim.
How important is it, Eddie, now you've got sort of Turkey Al Sheikh and the Saudis coming in, and there's all these big fights happening now, which is great for us, which is great for the media, which is great for the boxing fans, that in the UK we have to still have big fights?
It's absolutely imperative. Dalton Smith, Adam Azim is a fight that will really ignite the British boxing fans. There's so many great fights that can be made out there at the moment. I mean, look at Josh Taylor against Jack Catterall, for example. It's a great bad blood fight that's going to just resonate with everybody, national media, get the public involved, the social media debate. Katie Taylor against Chantel Cameron-Free, Wood against Warrington. You said it earlier. Yard against Boazzi. These are the fights we need to make, and promoters have to come together. We've seen it with us in Queensbury, but you've got to be willing to allow your fighter to fight on the other side of the patch, if you want. We're talking at the moment, I don't know, another fight. George Warren's come on about Shabazz Massoud against Liam Davis. Fucking great fight. Would you do it on our show? Yes, because if the money's right and it's a great opportunity for Shabazz and we think he wins that fight, 100%. Rather do it on our show. But if you won't allow that to happen, I'm willing to make that move. Yeah? Same with Adam Azim against Dalton Smith. If it has to be on Sky, we'll definitely consider it. It's not a problem. But we won't allow the fight not to happen. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, obviously, we've broken that duck and that barrier now with Queensbury, and we're talking all the time about other shows and other guys that we've got, fights. I don't know if it's Johnny Fisher against David Adelaide, or it's Shabazz against Liam Davis, or it's Hopi Price against Nathaniel Collins. There's so many fights we can make amongst ourselves. And again, same with Boxer and Matchroom. I don't mind doing a fight on Sky, but it's got to work both ways. It's not just like, oh no, we won't do that because so. But I think that comes with time and experience. I was a little bit like that, it's just like, I'm not no, this is where it happens. But now we're under pressure to make the great fights in the UK. So whatever it takes, we'll make it happen.
Talking about the Saudi V5 card, are you going to sign anyone up? Is it going to be like a summer transfer window where you sign maybe someone up?
It's a really interesting format. I love the idea, and it was, it's His Excellency's idea of 2 weight classes from Matchroom, 2 from Queensbury, and 1 from His Excellency. But you don't know the fights until the press conference of Joshua Ngannou, yeah? So say we sit down and I go light heavyweight, right? They've got to put forward the best light heavyweight who's up for it, and same with us. Now, is there a transfer window? Do you know what I mean? Can we sign Beterbiev and let him go and fight in the 5v5? So I think we need to probably put a cap on the transfer deadline to know that the stable of fighters is the stable of fighters. Do you know what I mean? So I love it. I love the concept. I can't wait. And now the next move is the weight classes, which hopefully will happen quite soon. And then the debate will start. Who's it going to be? And it's unveiled at the press conference. So it will literally be, the first pick of weight class from Queensbury is, I don't know, super middleweight. And they will say, our pick is Zach Parker. And I will say, our pick is Canelo Alvarez. I'm only joking. No, but, I don't know, Diego Pacheco, Edgar Berlanga, whoever it could be. And it's going to be a fascinating event.
Are you going to look to do something different with the production for this? We've seen the UFC do something where they've had their fighters and two sort of legends or sort of coach them. Are you going to do something of that concept?
I think that it's a team concept. Okay. We want to add some kind of team bonus in, so it's like a situation where even if you lose in the first fight of the night, you're ringside because if the team wins, you cop a bonus. So I like that house experience, me in with the guys and girls, Frank in with the guys, and just to sort of mentor a little bit and say, come on, we've got to win this, because I'm desperate to win. It's all very friendly with Queensbury at the moment, but I want to destroy them in the 5x5. It's supposed to show who's got the strongest stable. We can't lose. Come on. So I'm going to be rattling up the guys. I might even put a little bonus in myself as well to say, come on, we've got to win this fight.
Do you want to quickly talk before I let you go? Conor Benn, Tank Davis. There was 5 names that Conor put on Twitter. I think a few of them were unrealistic. Haney's fighting Garcia now, it seems. Spence doesn't look like there's much going on in regards to Spence. Barrios seems quite a good fight, but Tank is the one that's actually reached out. What's the latest with that?
I mean, we're talking to Tank and his team. I think it's a great fight. It's not one that I really thought about. But when they started back and forward on social media, I just felt to myself, this could actually be a massive fight. Tank will always feel that our offer is not enough, but with pay-per-view upside and gate upside, there's a lot of money in that fight. But he just made a lot of money against Ryan Garcia, and it's going to be difficult to keep him happy, whatever he does. For Conor, I like the fight. Look, I think Tank is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, but Conor does have size on him, which is unusual with the guys he's been fighting lately, and maybe with a Eubank fight, etc. So it's a very tough fight, but he'll be fighting a pound for pound great, so we're definitely open to it.
Do you get Bomac's argument though? Just go after the 147, 154 fighters. Tank might, we know Conor's sort of gone up, and it's going to be hard to come back down and try to make a weight. Do you see what Bomac's saying in regards to what you said yesterday? Yeah,
but I just think Tank wants the biggest fight for the most amount of money, and I think it's a fight that he'll be confident of winning. And if the money's right, I think he'll take it.
Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, it seems like, from what Mike Coppedge tweeted out a couple of hours ago, that's done, April 20th in Vegas. Talk to me about that fight. Good fight? Great
fight. I mean, Bill's been leading the negotiations from our side, been having very positive discussions with Oscar, spoke to him last night, and I think there's a great chance, there could be an announcement soon. I think it's the perfect fight for both guys. I think it's a great fight for DAZN, and it'd be another huge event for the platform.
Final one. Obviously, we know that Tyson Fury's fight with Alexander Usyk's been delayed to May 18th. Does that do anything for AJ? Does that prolong what he has to do? Because we know there's a tournament format, or is it going to have to be some other plan in place in between?
I mean, I did love the timing of AJ fighting Ngannou, Fury fighting Usyk a few weeks before. If they both win that, there's going to be a lot of pressure to make that fight. But we'll see. The job remains the same for us. March the 8th, get the win against a very dangerous Francis Ngannou.
Actually, I do want to, before I go, is that Eubank post? No, is that Chris Eubank post? I found that hilarious. But
yeah, it's good.
What do you make of that? What's he doing next? What were you hearing?
I said in Vegas, I'm not going to talk about Eubank anymore because I'm sick and tired of just being baffled by him not taking the fight. So I like the post. I reshared it, but it's just money. We've offered him 2-3 times what he can make to fight anybody else, and the money in the pot is the money in the pot. And I don't know what else to say. They know where we are, put it that way.
Eddie Hearn, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.